We're here for a special shiur for the Yom Tov of Sukkot, Tavshin Ayin Hey. Over the past couple of years, we've discussed a few different inyanim of Sukkot. We've discussed the Daled Minim. We've discussed various inyanim of Sukkot. This year, I would like to discuss an inyan that gets really to the core, to the essence of the Chag HaSukkos, of the real reason why we have Chag HaSukkos, and what we, as each one of us as an individual, can take out of this Yom Tov. The Pasuk says in the Torah regarding Sukkos, V'asukos teishvu shivas yomim. You should sit in a sukkah for 7 days, and the Pasuk continues after, L'man yed'u doreseichem. That you should know, you should remember this, you should know this for generations, that what? Ki v'asukos hashavti es b'nei Yisrael b'hoitzi'i oisam me'eretz Mitzrayim ani Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us, I want you to remember, and you should remember that it was a concept of HaKadosh Baruch Hu shielding us and putting us in a sukkah when we left Mitzrayim, and the pasuk ends, Ani Hashem. So we really need to understand, why was it that the Torah found it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu found it, so important to be kaveya a Yom Tov to commemorate the Anani HaKavod? What was our sukkah in the Midbar? What protected us? What covered us? That was the Anani HaKavod. And Rashi says over there in Chumash, Rashi says that is really what the sukkah is all about. Ki v'asukos shavti, it was the Anani HaKavod. So why is it that HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Torah, why is it that it was so important that we actually make a Yom Tov to remember this inyan that we were protected by the Anani HaKavod? Now think about it for a second. There were other nisim, there were other miracles in the Midbar. There was the miracle of the man that sustained us when we were in the Midbar. There was the miracle of the Be'er Shel Miriam, which gave when we were thirsty, we had water. And yet, of course, we know that there is no Yom Tov. There is no commemoration in the Jewish calendar to commemorate the miracle of the man or the miracle of the Be'er. Why is that? And of course, we also have the question, the famous question that everybody knows about this inyan, the question of the Torah in Siman Tov Reish Chaf Hey. The Torah asks why we have Sukkos in Tishrei. Now, I know we have different answers, that then it doesn't look like we're going out for the springtime. And it was really, if we were commemorating Sukkos, it should be when we left Mitzrayim. It should be in Nisan. Why is it that we have Sukkos in the month of Tishrei? So we have these two questions. Why do we have Sukkos at all, as opposed to commemorating other miracles of the Midbar? And why is it that this Sukkos that we have decided to celebrate is celebrated in Tishrei and not in Nisan? Nesivos Shalom wants to explain this inyan with a yesod that is based on the pasuk that we began this year by speaking about. The pasuk says, "L'man yed'u doreseichem." Let it be known, let it be remembered for generations. What does this pasuk tell us? Says in Nesivos Shalom. This pasuk tells us that there is no mitzvah, there is no thing in Judaism to commemorate things. We don't commemorate things of the past, things that happened in history. We don't do things that way. We don't just make some sort of commemoration day, some sort of memorial day for something that happened in the past. Anything or any time that we establish to remember, anything that we set aside, something to remember, it has a purpose of nitzchias. It has a purpose for us right now, and it has a reason for all future generations to learn from. And that is why we commemorate things. That is why we do things. We don't do things to just remind us of something that happened in history. And let's look at Pesach, the Yom Tov of Pesach. We know that each and every year, we've discussed in our shiurim also, each and every year we recall and we feel once again Cherus. We commemorate the Cherus that we had by Yetzias Mitzrayim, and every single year, when it comes around to that time of a year, we have a lesson of Nitzchias, a lesson of what it means. Whatever we learn, whatever Chayrus is, exactly, however you want to define it, but it's a lesson that every year when we come around to Pesach, that's what we remember. And likewise, we have the same thing by Shavuos. When it comes to Shavuos, every single year, it is a time to renew our commitment to the Torah. Shavuos was a time of Matan Torah, and now every year Shavuos, it has an itzchias, it has a purpose, it has a reason for us. And Shavuos comes around, again, every single year is a Matan Torah. And let us contrast that for 1 second with the two Nisim that we spoke about in the Midbar. We spoke about the Nes of the Mon, and we spoke about the Be'er. What were both of those things? Both of the things were unbelievably great. Nisim was a tremendous miracle. However, once we left the Midbar, once those years were over, there was no Be'er. There was no Mon. There's nothing in it for the future. There's nothing that we gain out of it today. So something like that says in the Nesivos Shalom, that we don't commemorate. We don't memorialize something that was. It's nice to know about. We could learn lessons from it from the past, but we don't perpetuate it. We don't make a yontif and go forward because it doesn't carry an itzchias for us. It doesn't carry a lesson for us. And that is the reason, and it's just for that reason, of it being l'shaitam, was just for that time, that we don't have a zecher for it. There is no yontif, because there was no nitzchias. However, our yontif of Sukkot is very, very different. We do have a zecher, and we made a yontif. Why? Because there's a tremendous lesson that every person and every one of the future generations, including us and our children and our grandchildren and all generations carrying forward, there's a tremendous lesson. And what is this lesson, says in the Nesivos Shalom, that we learn from Sukkot? It's the lesson of HaKadosh Baruch Hu surrounding us with the Anani HaKavod in the Midbar. And that lesson is the essence of the Chag. The essence of this yontif, the yontif of Sukkot, the emunah that every Yid has to have at all times, Hinei lo yanum v'lo yishan shemer Yisrael, that no matter when, no matter what, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not ever go to sleep on us, so to speak, Kaviyachal. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always, always watching over Klal Yisrael, whether we realize it or not, in every situation. And in every generation. In the days of the Midbar, the Torah tells us, what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu watch over us for? HaKadosh Baruch Hu watched over us for that we shouldn't be hurt by snakes, by scorpions, by the things that were dangerous at that time in the wilderness. And 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago, it was HaKadosh Baruch Hu protecting us from other things. And today, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu protecting us from rockets that are being shot our way. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is protecting us from all the other dangers and anti-Semitism and all the other things that we face in Golus and all the trials and tribulations that we go through and we constantly face. We have to know the Shomer Yisrael is always there for us. And that is the lesson of Sukkot. At times it is hidden. But the more we open our eyes and the more we live Emunah, the more we feel it and the more we appreciate it. And this Yontif of Sukkot is the main event of the year in this department of Emunah, says the Nesivos Shalom. The entire essence of the Yontif of Sukkot, the entire essence of this Chag, it screams out to us, it calls out to us, Emunah. We say in the Yotzris, on the second day of Sukkot, if you pay a little attention, if you say Yotzris, if you look, it says very, very interesting Yotzris, and I'm always fascinated whenever we say this. It says, Bal Tihi Mitzvah Sukkah Kala B'einecha. Don't let the mitzvah of Sukkah be light in your eyes. Ki keneged kol mitzvahs das chukoisel shkula. It is keneged. It is the weight of the mitzvah of Sukkot is keneged all the other mitzvahs in the Torah. It's great, just as great as all the other mitzvahs put together. What's pshat in that? Pshat is, says in the Nesivos Shalom, that emunah we see from here is the root of every single mitzvah. It's the root of every midah and the root of every mitzvah. And emunah is drawn from Sukkah for the entire year. This Yontif of Sukkot has the capability, if we wake up and if we stop sleeping through it and we appreciate and see the beauty and the mitzvah of Sukkot, it has the power to boost us forward, to give us the power of emunah for the entire year. And that is the reason why the Gemara Masechet Avodah Zarah Daf Gimel Amud Aleph tells us that la'asid lavoi, what's going to be the test that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives to the Goyim? The Goyim are going to say, what do you mean? We wanted to keep the mitzvahs. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, well, I gave you the Torah, you didn't want it? Well, no, we would have kept it had we known this or that. The Baruch Shalom is going to test the Goyim, the Gemara says in Masechet Avodah Zarah. The Baruch Shalom is going to test them with the mitzvah of Sukkah. Why? Okay, so the Gemara says over there, the Gemara Shalom is going to make it hot outside. They're going to kick the Sukkah. They're going to leave. They're not going to be able to take the weather, this and that. But the bottom line is, it's an absolute fundamental of life. It's emunah. Of course we should test the Goyim with the mitzvah of Sukkah, because emunah is everything. Emunah is where we begin, and emunah is where we end, and everything in between also. And that all comes from the mitzvah of Sukkah. So that is the greatest test for the Goyim. Just want to finish off by answering the question that we asked at the beginning. Why was Sukkot then, the question of the Torah, why was Sukkot then made? Why did we establish the Yontif of Sukkot? Why did Torah tell us to keep it in the month of Tishrei as opposed to the month of Nisan? You know why? The Nesivos Shalom says a beautiful, beautiful vart. We just came through Yom Kippur. We're all new. We renewed ourselves. We started a new slate. We started a new daf, a new paper, we're open now. We're clean. Where everybody is ready to start anew after Sukkot, after Rosh Hashanah. Why do we start with Sukkot? Because Sukkot is emunah. And the Torah is teaching us a lesson. Where do you start? If a person's a Baal Tshuva, if a person has done, and every single one of us is a Baal Tshuva, hopefully from a few days ago, from Yom Kippurim. But the Torah is telling us that where does a person start? You want to start a new slate. You want to build. You want to grow. You want to be different than you were last year. You know how you start? You start with emunah. Right away in Tishrei, a few days after Yom Kippurim, we start and we say, Hashem, we're here. We're your children. We're back. Emunah is where we're going to start, and we're going to build on that. And all the other midas and all the things we want to do this year is going to get its good start. And we know the way you start something and the way you approach the new year is the way, more than likely, it will turn out. We always have the opportunity to change, but there's nothing like building on a good foundation. So now we come to the Yontif of Sukkot, just another 2 days away. We'll be sitting in the Sukkah. It's time that we don't just sleep through the entire Yontif again. It's not just about the Chol Moed trips, although that is a beauty of Yontif. You can spend time with your family, spend time with your children, appreciate it, appreciate all the good that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given you. But it's time to instill emunah into yourself, into your family, and to carry it forward for the whole year. So let the warmth of this mitzvah of Sukkot, even though it seems like it's going to be a bit on the chilly side this year, it's late in the year, we're in October already, but let the warmth of emunah, let the warmth of this mitzvah Sukkah, taka be something that warms us up and propels us through the rest of the year, that we can grow and grow to greater heights. I'd like to wish everybody a Chag Sameach, a very meaningful, a very warm, a very beautiful Yontif of Sukkot, and may this be the last sukkah that we have to build in Galus.